Thanks, Rita. Good evening. Welcome to Look North. Our top story tonight. A warning to teenagers across the region to stay out of the water this bank holiday weekend or risk terrible consequences.
You often can't see anything because it's quite silty, and then obviously there's cold water shock as well. The water at the moment is still very cold.
We'll be live with lifeguards at a safe swimming session in Leeds. Also tonight, a warning from TransPennine Express. The service could get worse before it gets better. A toast to success, the Barnsley Breakfast Club, which has won a major award. And as Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley head to Wembley for this big weekend South Yorkshire derby, we host a battle of the fans.
And it was a glorious start to the day in Whitby, and we've all had a fine day. Of course, it's a bank holiday weekend, so all eyes on the weather. I'll be back later in the programme with your full forecast.
Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to Friday's Look North. We start tonight with an unfortunate stark warning for teenagers, particularly boys. Don't be tempted to swim in open water this bank holiday weekend. Authorities are fearful the warm weather this weekend will tempt young people into open water. It's only 2 days since 3 boys died in accidents in our region. Fire services, police, local authorities and the Canal and River Trust say they're particularly concerned about young people, many of whom may not know about the risks of open water swimming. Phil Bodmer is live for us this evening and has more.
Yeah, Tom, this is Leeds Dock. I'm told the water temperature in here is around about 17 degrees. I did stick my hand in and I can tell you it feels a lot colder than that. This is a supervised swimming session, an open water swimming session where they've got lifeguards on duty to check the safety of people. But as you mentioned there, of course, concerns now as summer approaches with the warm weather, a bank holiday weekend, and of course those tragedies over recent days of people swimming unsupervised in open water.
The noonday sun beats down on the cold, cloudy waters of the Aire and Calder navigation. It may look inviting on the surface, but below lurks invisible danger. Following the death of a 16-year-old boy in Castleford on Wednesday and warm weather forecast over the bank holiday weekend, there are warnings to avoid swimming in open water.
People jump in and they swim round to a river landing to get out. Can't see what's below it. We've got a lot of debris and trees and things in here.
For those tempted to cool off, there's some sobering advice.
There's hidden dangers underneath. There could be currents, there could be weeds. There's biological pathogens in the water from treated effluent that comes in from sewage treatment plants. You often can't see anything because it's quite silty. And then obviously there's cold water shock as well. And the end result is we can end up with fatalities, and it's devastating for all the families involved in this, as well as my staff and volunteers and members of the public.
Somewhere on that bridge where he jumped in.
Simon Haycock lost his 16-year-old son Sam at Ulley Reservoir in South Yorkshire 2 years ago. Since then, Simon's dedicated his life to preventing further tragedies by talking to schools and colleges. He's holding a water safety event in Rotherham tomorrow.
We'll never get over losing Sam, but I use my grief to try and do something positive. I don't want to see this happening to other families and things like that, so we started campaigning to try and raise awareness and raise funds and buy life-saving equipment.
Water safety campaigners say teenage boys are a particular risk. This video was put together to help educate young people about the perils of open water.
Well, the authorities will be keen to avoid a repeat of 2 summers ago when 21 people across our region lost their lives through accidental drowning.
Last year, that number reduced to 6, but any loss of life is one too many.
And John, there is equipment that can mean the difference between life and death.
Yes, as you can see here, we've got a life buoy. It's part of a risk assessment.
But all too often, line throws or life belts are missing or have been broken.
This sort of vandalism, why would you want to do this with safety equipment?
Police are also reiterating warnings about the dangers of open water swimming. As a warm bank holiday weekend beckons, everyone is urged to be vigilant and enjoy the water and the weather safely. Phil Bodmer, BBC Look North.
I should say we are safe behind the barriers here at Open Water Swimming Leeds Dock. Let's talk to Rose Pepperday, who's the venue manager here. Rose, just explain the benefits of open water swimming.
There are so many benefits to open water swimming, honestly. Like the cold water aspect can be really good for your circulation. Obviously, like speak to a doctor before going swimming. But like the social aspect as well, there's such a nice community with open water swimmers, and we're all just so nice, just really nice people, honestly.
This is a supervised event. You've got lifeguards on duty and you can keep an eye on the swimmers. Presumably there are not obstructions underwater, but teenage boys we know are at particular risk with open water swimming, and unsupervised it can be extremely hazardous, can't it?
Yeah, it really can. We welcome everyone over the age of 10 here to Love Open Water Leeds Dock, and everyone is welcome. We don't really have any requirements to join. It's only being able to swim 400 metres and be confident in deep water. We ask that everyone wears a tow float. Wetsuits are not compulsory. Obviously, when the weather gets a bit warmer, no one wants to wear a wetsuit. So it's just tow floats, bright hats and safe swimming. And do you need to get permission to swim in somewhere like this? Presumably there are a number of safeguards you need to adhere to. Yes, so to join the swimming here, everyone needs to have a NAUCA membership. That's our safety system. We tap people in and out the water so we can keep track of how many people are in the water. And if someone doesn't tap out, we give them a call, make sure they're all right. And then after that, you just book each session in advance. And that's pretty much it. Turn up and swim.
Okay, Rose, good to talk to you, and I'm glad to see people out enjoying this warm evening tonight. But the advice is very clear from the emergency services and the authorities. If you are tempted by the weather this weekend to get into open swimming, please do it safely, securely, on sessions like this, rather than risking your life in open water unsupervised. Tom.
Thanks very much indeed, Phil. Let's hope we have a safe weekend. Next tonight, services at the troubled train operator TransPennine Express may deteriorate even further after the company is transferred to the government this weekend. BBC Look North has seen a letter from the new state-owned company that suggests some of the challenges around cancellations and delays may get worse in the weeks ahead. It's understood some train drivers have left the company, making it harder for the company to operate its timetable. Here's our transport correspondent, Spencer Stokes.
TransPennine Express has some of the worst train cancellation and delay rates in the country. For over a year, the company has been embroiled in an industrial dispute with the ASLEF Train Drivers Union about overtime working. That's meant the company has struggled to find drivers to run its services. 2 weeks ago, the government took action, cancelling the TransPennine contract and transferring the company to a new state-owned operator. It takes over on Sunday, but is already warning that passengers shouldn't expect immediate improvements. In a letter seen by Look North, the new nationalised TransPennine says the legacy problems will all take time to resolve and reset. We all know there is no quick fix to some of the challenges that TPE has faced. During our first few weeks of operation, we expect some of those challenges to get worse. From our initial review of TPE's current plans, it is clear that they are even more stretched than we had understood. In addition, a number of drivers have decided not to transfer. That reflects a warning from one business leader on the day the nationalisation was announced.
I know lots of commuters really don't like TransPennine Express, but the underlying reasons why their service has been so bad, the fact they don't have access to people working on their rest days or doing overtime to train the new drivers that are coming through, is still a problem today. It'll still be a problem on the first day when it's been nationalised. And as much as I'm sure people who would like a fully nationalised railway would support it for those reasons, in practical terms, it won't make a huge difference anytime soon.
TransPennine's performance hit a new low last winter. Between January and March of 2023, TPE cancelled nearly a quarter of the daily trains it's supposed to run. And of those that did run, 53% were late, making rail travel across the north a miserable experience.
It's the only one out of, I think, 5 trains this morning. Just this one was running through to Huddersfield. So that's why I'm on this one.
Yesterday they cancelled 15 out of 24 in a 2-hour period. Today it's 10 out of 24. And that seems to be the norm. There's more cancelled trains than trains running most of the time.
Performance has improved in recent weeks, but the letter from the new management team suggests the road to recovery will be a long one. Spencer Stokes, BBC Look North.
Well, Spencer joins us now. Spencer, you've been across this story from the start. No light at the end of the tunnel yet, clearly. Is there any evidence that nationalised train operators do better than private companies?
Yeah, it's a really mixed picture, Tom. This is the cancellation rate for TransPennine Express, as we saw there, between January and March of this year. TransPennine cancelling 21.7% of services, whilst LNER, who have been state-owned for 5 years, cancelled just 4.7%. And Northern, down there at the bottom, 4.4% of trains cancelled between January and March. Northern nationalised 2 years ago. Now, that would suggest that train companies perform better when they're state-run. But the two best performing rail companies in the country are Greater Anglia, with 1.1% of cancellations, and the very small contract C2C with 1.6%. Now, they're both privatised. So it seems the key to performance is long-term investment, either from the public or private sector. TransPennine's new management will now be hoping they can turn things around, but they may need more money to do so.
Thank you, Spencer. I know you're going to stay on the transport beat for this story. Fingers crossed for better news in the months ahead. You're watching Friday's Look North. Still to come on tonight's programme. A love made in the heavens? Find out what happened when a skydiver pulled his ripcord and popped the question. Let's take a look at the other news coming into our newsroom tonight. A 17-year-old had died after being stabbed in the street in Sheffield yesterday evening. Police were called to Crooks at about 7 o'clock. The victim died in hospital shortly afterwards. 2 men have been arrested on suspicion of murder. And meanwhile, police have launched a murder investigation after a woman was stabbed to death in Huddersfield. Officers were called to Ripon Avenue in Fartown this morning to reports of a woman in her 50s with serious injuries. She died a short time later in hospital. Police believe it was a targeted attack, and a 55-year-old man has been arrested. Some distressing news now. A Chesterfield couple who murdered their 10-month-old baby son just days after he was placed back into their care have been jailed for life. Finley Bowden, who died on Christmas Day in 2020, was severely injured in attacks inflicted by his parents. Today, Stephen Bowden was given a minimum jail term of 29 years, while his partner, Shannon Marsden, was told she must serve at least 27 years in prison. At Derby Crown Court, the judge said the pair had subjected their son to unimaginable cruelty.
The infections which killed him had all set in and taken hold because of the extensive fractures to Finley's ribs and other bones. Medical intervention would have saved Finley's life, and if Finley had been given antibiotics and the necessary care in the minutes and hours before he died, he would have made a complete recovery.
6 ex-Yorkshire players have been sanctioned with fines and bans by the Cricket Discipline Commission for using racist language. Gary Ballance, Tim Bresnan, Matthew Hoggard, Andrew Gale, John Blaine and Richard Pyra were all found to have made racist slurs during their time at the club. The charges stemmed from claims made by former Yorkshire player Azim Rafiq. All 6 have been fined sums of up to £6,000. Yorkshire's famous Black Sheep Brewery has been saved from closure. The brewery in Massam has been making beer since 1992, but went into administration earlier this month, saying it has been hit by the pandemic and rising costs. The business, which employs around 150 people, has been acquired by the investment firm Breel Group, who say they aim to regrow the business. Now, here's a lovely story. At the start of this school year, charity, the Food Foundation, estimated 4 million children in the UK were at risk of hunger. Children who don't get enough to eat find it hard to learn and have their life chances damaged. Schools are trying to fix this through breakfast clubs, and one in Barnsley has just won an award in recognition of their work to improve the lives of their young children. Olivia Richwald reports.
An early start to the school day in Barnsley. Although not compulsory, 3/4 of pupils attend this completely free 8 a.m. breakfast club. It's easy to see why.
Kind of refreshing to be here all the time, to have some food to eat and to have someone to talk to before you're just caught up in all the things that you've got to learn.
So I like playing with them big transformers. I like eating Rice Krispies. And I like running every day out here.
It gets them started for the day, because it's nothing worse than a child coming in the morning completely grumpy or they're just waking up, and coming in and brightening themselves up by having something to eat, having some fun, a bit of chit-chat before class. I think it's a good idea.
If you don't have anything at home to eat for breakfast, you can just come here and have breakfast for free.
Well, I like to spend time with my friends, so then we can play and we don't mess about in the classroom, so we get to play outside.
The club is run by teaching staff who volunteer to start work early. It's mostly funded out of school budgets too.
More than 200 children go to this school in Barnsley and 150 of them come to this breakfast club, which means they're starting lessons after being fed, having a play with their friends and exercising.
I think historically children were hungry. We were taking children out of classes who might be dysregulated, and we found out it was because they hadn't had a drink or even a slice of toast. So now all children are offered breakfast. They all come through the same door. We've seen a massive difference in terms of not only the children's outcomes, but the children's confidence. They're more settled, they can concentrate in the classrooms.
The scheme here at Oakwell Rise Academy has just won a Kellogg's Breakfast Club award. Pupils were invited to London to collect their prize of £1,000.
We went to the Houses of Parliament and we went on London Eye.
In the room where we got the reward, there was other schools who was coming for their reward, and we got the one in Best of Yorkshire.
And then at 8:30 it's all over and pupils head off full up and relaxed. Lessons begin at 8:45. The club might only last a small amount of time, but it's making a big difference. Olivia Richwald, BBC Look North, Barnsley.
Congratulations to everyone at Oakwell Rise. What a fantastic initiative. Now, it seems like only this time last week we were sitting here saying how exciting things were getting in the as we got towards the end of the football season, and it's even better now, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like I've been saying it's crunch time for quite a while, but it really is crunch time. It's a weekend when the last remaining relegations and promotions will be decided. 2 of our teams are going to Wembley, more on that in a moment. But first, where will Leeds be playing next season? The Whites have one last chance to stay in the Premier League. They're currently second from bottom of the table, and to stand any chance of avoiding the drop, they must win their game on Sunday against Tottenham. But even then, they're relying on the fortunes of Everton and Leicester. It's a tough prospect for the team and manager Sam Allardyce.
Here's where we're going to live or die on Sunday in terms of the result, and all we can try and do is to give them as much opportunity to get the result that they need. It's all about this arena, this stadium on Sunday, with obviously the fantastic atmosphere that will go with it.
Now to Wembley, where Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley will be battling for promotion to the Championship next season. The League One playoff final this year is an all-South Yorkshire derby on Monday. And as Paul Ogden's been finding out on the streets of Barnsley and Hillsborough, people are talking about little else.
I'm Tina, I'm from Barnsley and I've been a season ticket holder since I was 6-year-old. I think it'll be a superb atmosphere, South Yorkshire derby, we've beat them twice, we're going for treble, and I think it'll be a 2-0 Barnsley win. The atmosphere will be absolutely fantastic.
I'm John, I'm Barnsley's town centre postman. I've been a Barnsley fan all my life since my dad first took me when I was 9-year-old. I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going to be an exciting game.
Good luck getting there. Hopefully the traffic's not too bad. Turn up, enjoy it, make as much noise as you can. I'd say the same to Sheffield Wednesday. You know, make it a brilliant occasion, and then hopefully the best team wins.
We have a multitude and an army of fans with us. It's a oneness really that we've always maintained throughout the season, and that's what we'll see on Monday.
He's got them together somehow, because they must have been in pieces after that first leg. So I'm hopeful.
If Wednesday don't win at Wembley, Gerard, will you still support them?
Not support them. It's in your blood, isn't it? Of course I'll support them. That's no offence, but that's a silly question.
Can't wait for that game. Now, the British Diving Championships are taking place at Ponds Forge in Sheffield this weekend, with some big names vying to be crowned national champions. Matty Lee from Leeds, who won synchro gold at the Tokyo Olympics alongside Tom Daley, is competing in the 10-metre platform. He took a break from competition last year when his father died unexpectedly. He says his dad's death has given him a fresh perspective on his sport.
When it goes well, it feels amazing, and I love working towards something. And also I feel like
My dad wouldn't have wanted me to quit or retire. He would have definitely liked to see me go to another Olympic Games or even 2. So that's quite where a lot of my inspiration comes from now.
Yorkshire's Lizzie Dynion finished 3rd in today's stage of the Ride London Classic. It's Britain's only UCI Women's World Tour race. Dynion only returned to racing in April following the birth of her second child. She was part of a sprint finish in today's 150-kilometre stage. You can see her here in blue at the bottom of the screen. There are 2 more stages with the finish line in London on Sunday. Before the race, she had this to say about her chances of winning.
If I'm realistic and honest with myself, this season is about getting back to being at the sharp end of a race where I can contemplate winning it. And that may take a couple of races or it might take the whole season. And I have to be okay with that because it's easy to underestimate what my body has been through and what I'm trying to balance at home. And I think it's fair to give myself a season to get back to that level.
And Rob Burrows' family have announced their latest fundraising challenge. The former Leeds Rhinos star has been raising money for motor neurone disease charities since he was diagnosed with it. This morning, his wife Lindsay and children announced they would all take part in a Father's Day fun run in Leeds. The news was revealed on BBC Leeds this morning.
So we are going to push Daddy round the Leeds fun run on Father's Day.
Now, you're going to be running this victory lap for your dad, Rob. You're going to be pushing him round the fun run, which is incredible. Do you think your little brother Jackson is getting involved too? What's the situation here?
Well, I hope so. I hope Jackson will. I think he will do, but I hope he'll help us push.
Yeah.
No, we'll just tell him on the day.
Yeah. That's...
I think that's going to be a really special event. And that, for now, Tom, is your score.
Thank you very much indeed. That's our Sally. More crunch weekends than your average breakfast cereal. Now, ahead of the playoff game, we caught wind of a Sheffield Wednesday superfan flying all the way from Australia to Wembley just for a few hours to cheer their team on. We want to sit strictly on the fence here. So we've seen a Sheffield Wednesday superfan. So to commence the battle of the superfans, we challenged Barnsley to find a worthy competitor. And guess what? They didn't disappoint.
Hi, my name's Craig. Everybody knows me as Granty.
My name's Neil. I live in Adelaide, South Australia.
Massive
And
Barnsley fan.
I'm a massive Sheffield Wednesday fan.
Yes! Come on!
Come on, Wednesday! To get to Wembley for me, it's going to take 12,000 miles, 2 flights. I'm spending more time actually on the aeroplane. A little bit crazy, but hopefully it's worth it.
People see me as a super fan, basically because I interact with all fans as much as I can. Everybody sees me coming down from my seat, coming to front at stand, and they know exactly what's going to happen. Everybody seems to know me now, some sort of local celebrity.
When I first started watching Sheffield Wednesday, I can recall being about 4 years old. I was a mascot for the day, I've supported them all my life, all 47 years.
I've been going since I was around 5-year-old, 30 years. Plus, once you fall in love with it, that's it, you're stuck for it for life.
I've basically got a full sleeve tattoo of the club badge and owl. Everything's just Sheffield Wednesday.
We've got Super Michael Duffy!
To be there on Monday for the final is just going to be, phenomenal, and then I'm looking forward to it. So,
and there's no other place I'd rather be. We've beat them twice this season. We're going to carry on that form into Wembley.
Come on, Wednesday!
Come on, you rat!
No, please, it's not that sort of show. Keep your shirt on. Seriously, may the best team win. I want to say that loud and clear so we don't get any accusations of taking sides. It is going to be a brilliant day. We will have all the coverage on Bank Holiday Monday. Finally tonight, a couple from Donny are celebrating after getting engaged during a skydiving trip. Ashley Scott from Doncaster was left in shock when partner Robbie Dorrans popped the question immediately. We'll stress this after the pair had plummeted thousands of feet out of an aeroplane. The couple, who've been together for 5 years and have 2 children, say it was a perfect day. Oh, somebody's happy there in the background. I mean, I don't want to be rude. I'm sure they are very happy.
Opportunity to propose. It's something different, and it's like without her knowing.
I was very overwhelmed and just really shocked because I wasn't expecting it at all. There was all cheering in the background. I could hear them all screaming, couldn't we? I didn't actually have time to process it, so it has taken a few days to click in. I keep looking at my hand like, oh, I'm engaged.
Congratulations. I mean, what I was going to say was you'd have that much adrenaline after a skydive. You're going to say yes to anything, aren't you, Keely? I don't know.
All I can think is, what if you lost the ring? Where would you find it?
You've got many pockets, or when it popped out with a parachute, it could have been a disaster, couldn't it?
Congratulations.
Lovely weather for skydiving this weekend, though.
Absolutely, yes. And it's been glorious today, hasn't it? This was Barnsley cracking the flags this morning. We did see more cloud develop in quite a few areas. For example, here in South Yorkshire as we headed through the afternoon. But it didn't stop temperatures reaching 22 degrees at the top of the Vale of York. And we've got similar temperatures to come tomorrow. You can keep your weather pictures coming in to the Weather Watchers website, or I'm on Instagram and I'm on Twitter as well. So it does look like we're going to have a continuation of the settled weather through the weekend. I think probably tomorrow looks like the warmest of the 3 days. Some good spells of sunshine, and yes, once again feeling warm in that sunshine with temperatures in the low 20s. I think there'll be a little bit more cloud around on Sunday and a little bit cooler, the very small risk of the odd shower. And then a bit of a cloudy start to Monday, but it should brighten up nicely with plenty of warm sunshine. And the settled weather looks set to continue through May and into the early part of June as well. Here's a satellite picture. You can see that cloud developing through the afternoon, and we are going to keep that cloud as we head through this evening and overnight. Still some clear spells around the cloud, and underneath any clear spells we may well get a little bit of mistiness in places. Temperatures dropping back to around 7 or 8 degrees. Let's have a quick look then at those high water times for tomorrow. In Filey at 19 minutes past 10 and in Bridlington at 10:31. So any mist will quickly lift tomorrow. We will have some areas of cloud, so partly cloudy skies, some spells of sunshine through the morning, but good sunny spells continuing on into the afternoon, when we will see a little bit more of a build-up of cloud into the afternoon, but still some warm spells of sunshine, with temperatures inland getting up to around 22, if not 23 degrees. And we'll have an offshore wind, offshore breeze tomorrow, so I think temperatures along the coast will be a little bit higher than today's values, getting up to around 20, if not 21 degrees. So looking further ahead into Sunday, I think it will be a little bit cooler on Sunday and a little bit cloudier too, with the risk of the odd shower, but still some spells of sunshine. A cloudy start to Bank Holiday Monday, but it should brighten up nicely with some sunshine, Tom.
Looks great, Keely. Thank you very much indeed. And thank you too for your company all this week. It's been another busy week on Look North. Shall we do it all again after the bank holiday? Yeah, from all your Friday team. Bye-bye.